So there are two seemingly opposite approaches when it comes to getting stuff done or how you should spend your time. The first approach is the productivity guru approach, for getting the most done, squeezing every last ounce of time out of their life to be as effective and productive as possible. Then you have what I call the spiritual approach. It's a radical acceptance of what is without creating suffering for ourselves by wanting something other than what is happening right here, right now in this moment. But the challenge is that this spiritual approach doesn't solve the problem of how to achieve objective X by time Y. A spiritual guru would just maintain equanimity and notice, I didn't get objective X done by time Y. No big deal. And sure, you can maintain inner peace and happiness that way, but if you're also here to create things in the world, to run businesses, to run families, to do things, you can't just sit there and be a detached observer. So there is a quintessential approach which combines both productivity guru and the spiritual guru. The question is, how can we have inner peace and happiness while also getting tons of stuff done in our lives? And it's really all about mindset. I'm Ryan Genie. I'm a technology entrepreneur and investor, and I've also spent the last decade on a journey of spiritual awakening and seeking deeper truths. This channel is about Quintessence, where we go deep on the topics of business, spirituality, and life mastery. If you can wrangle control of your out of control monkey mind and maintain that state of equanimity and stop creating suffering for yourself, yes, you're creating that suffering for yourself. If you stop doing that, you'll find that you slip into a flow state effortlessly. There's kind of a dream of a productivity system that Mark Andreessen wrote about in a blog post years ago, of an unscheduled day where you refuse to keep a calendar, you refuse to schedule meetings in advance. You open up your calendar and see a blank day every day. How amazing does that feel? Your heart just expands, energy rises up in your body. You're suddenly ready to get all this stuff done because you can do whatever you want. You can always do whatever you want. And so if what you want does sometimes demand something of you that you don't want to do, hold that in your awareness. I'm doing this because I choose to do it. Why are you choosing to do it? Connect to that deeper purpose, to the greater plan that you're consciously choosing to unfold in your life. Now, in those moments when you're choosing discipline and choosing to work on a task that you don't really feel like working on right now, there are techniques that you can use to practice the muscle of discipline. And you have to think of it as a muscle. It's something that gets better with training, just like going to the gym and practicing a sport. And one of the best methods for practicing discipline is meditation. If you're able to sit down, close your eyes for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, and maintain concentration on a singular object, for example, your breath. If you've ever tried doing that, you'll realize how difficult it is. And if you've ever tried doing it for an extended period of time, you'll notice week over week that you can hold your concentration for longer and longer periods of time. Your mind feels like it's sharpening from a blunt machete to a fine scalpel. Even your everyday awareness of things around you or thoughts that come up that you need to contemplate seem to progress faster and with more clarity. You can train that with meditation, and if you don't have a daily meditation practice yet, I highly encourage you to start one today. A simple practice is just sit down for 30 minutes first thing in the morning as soon as you wake up and do nothing. I'll have much more to say on meditation in an upcoming mini course that I'm putting together, so subscribe to be notified when that's ready. A secret that not many people know is that we have the idea of motivation backwards. We often wait for motivation to strike so that we can then take action. But motivation actually works the opposite way. Have you ever noticed that once you start taking an action, however small, the motivation to continue taking that action or the next sequence of action begins to grow? So you can use that to your advantage. When you're facing a daunting task that you really don't want to do, think of the smallest possible first step that you can take, the smallest possible action, and just commit to taking only that action. Just do it. You can at least manage that no matter how undisciplined your mind is and how little you've practiced meditation. Do that first tiny task, and if you still don't have motivation to continue, fine. Go do something else, come back to it later. But what you'll often find is that after doing that small task, the next task doesn't seem that hard, and the next bigger task, and before you know it, you're hours into a flow state. Here's a really important point in the quintessential approach to productivity and flow. Have a commitment to action and not an attachment to the outcome. What this means is that once you've understood the action that you need to take next, by having full conscious awareness of why you're choosing to take that action and how it fits into your higher purpose, once you've understood what that action is, commit to taking that action. That's all you're committed to. You're committing to taking the action. You're not attached to whatever effect happens as a result of that action. You're not attached to any specific outcome. It's the attachment to outcome and outcomes being different than what we had expected that causes suffering. Suffering is literally proportional to the distance between the actual outcome and what you were expecting to happen. And know that that distance is sometimes in the positive direction, sometimes in a negative direction. The magnitude of the difference is sometimes huge, sometimes small. Have equanimity to that fact. No big deal. Sometimes I feel amazing, sometimes I feel like no big deal. And if you can maintain equanimity while experiencing those outcomes that are outside of your control, that, my friends, is the secret to inner peace and happiness. And yet you can still be committed to the actions that you've chosen to take in those moments of equanimity. I'm committed to doing this and I am doing it, and the outcome happens and it's different to what I expected. No big deal. That's life. And I'm committing to taking this action, and I'm going to keep taking that action because that is what I choose to do in this moment. And in order for me to be in integrity with my life, to be here on this planet for a reason, I choose to do this action now. And yet this happens, no big deal. How freeing does that feel, my friends? How open and spacious does your whole nervous system feel? Even just imagining that state of being, committing to intense action in alignment with your highest purpose, spending all the time that you choose to spend on those actions, and maintaining open, spacious freedom that no matter what happens, no big deal. This is life. This is life. If your inner voice is telling you that you're not getting done what you need to get done in this life, your problem is one of either structure or flow. If you don't have enough structure, then you haven't spent enough time thinking about and becoming aware of what it is exactly that you should be doing. This begins with a deep understanding of your core purpose. But once you understand that core purpose, you also need to spend time creating just enough of a scaffolding around yourself to be able to enter a flow state within that scaffold and take actions that you know are appropriate. If your problem is one of not enough flow, this usually comes from an inner tension. In the same way that your body and muscles can feel tense and tight, and as they relax you start to feel more open and spacious and energized and happy, you can continue that relaxation and expansion with your nervous system. So after all your muscles are completely relaxed, how could you continue relaxing, continue opening, continue expanding? And you'll find that there's often a lot of emotional tensions inside the subtle energy of your body. It's those constrictions of energy that are usually stopping you from having the motivation to get done what you need to get done. So if you find yourself in that situation, take a moment to close your eyes and really feel what it feels like to be on your body. Feel the energy system and feel where it's blocked up, and focus on relaxing and opening those. And as you do so, feel your heart expanding and feel the connection of your heart to your higher purpose. Why are you here on earth? What do you need to complete on earth before you die? And then notice how the task at hand is connected to that bigger picture, and feel if you now have more motivation and energy to start working on that. I have a feeling you probably will. When all of your actions are in alignment with your deepest purpose, and you can maintain a state of perfect equanimity while completing those actions, that, my friends, is the key to a happy, successful, and powerful life. But are you clear on what your higher purpose is? Are you clear on what you should be doing on this earth in the short time that you're here? If not, you might want to check out this video that I made that asks some questions that will help you connect with your deeper truth. And until next time, my friends, go deep.